Hi everyone. Today I thought I'd talk about fatigue. There's a lot of talk about fatigue within the ankylosing spondylitis community, and also the depression, anxiety, those sorts of communities as well. They all seem to be linked together, and it seems to be a common side effect from having either or all of those conditions. So I just thought I'd go through things, explain what fatigue is, how to, in theory, get through things, manage it, those sorts of things. So I'll start off saying, what is fatigue? By definition, fatigue is, it's extreme tiredness. It can stem from either physical or mental exertion, overdoing things either physically or mentally, or just having an underlying condition that causes your body to physically exert itself, without you, I don't mean by you running a marathon, for example, but your body might be constantly fighting something. So, for example, having an autoimmune disease, your body's constantly at battle with itself. Therefore, it's going to be physically fatigued. That's the kind of gist of it. When you look at the word fatigue within sort of other areas, let's say, the other industries where you, like building industry, for example, when they say, this metal is fatigued or whatever kind of thing, it means it's weakened. So I think that's a great word to use. Hi, that's my cat there. You can say hello. No, you're just going to walk directly across the camera. Okay, let's put him down here. Okay, mate. There we go. So it means weakness, which I think is a really, really appropriate word for what fatigue means. You're weakened. So, what are the symptoms? You can have the main one, for me, in my experience, having a lot of fatigue is, you're chronically tired. You want to go to sleep all the time. It's a weird feeling where you want to go to sleep and you're tired, but quite often you can't. It's really odd. So yeah, more side effects from that, and symptoms would be things like you get a headache from it. That can be, then go on for, cause some sort of dizziness or whatever. From a physical aspect, you get weakness in your muscles, sore muscles, those sorts of things. And, this can all build up to having slower responses, slower reflexes, and those then can impair your judgment, your decision making, those sorts of things. It has a serious knock-on effect and can really make have a big impact on your day-to-day life. It's not very nice, put it that way. Some of the causes can be, like I said, you're having an underlying health condition, whether it's either physical, say for example, like in my case, it's an autoimmune disease, ankylosing spondylitis, or AS for short. Or it can be from a mental health condition, for example, depression, anxiety, in my case. Again, there's, I would imagine, loads more, hundreds more of different causes. You know, a lifestyle, for example, you know, I would imagine things like bad diet, burning the candle at both ends, those sorts of things. You're just overdoing it can cause it, you know. So it's something that is, if you've already got a health condition, it's really, really important to be able to manage your life to manage the symptoms. So your lifestyle can really impact on the severity of fatigue. So in terms of, I don't want to say combating fatigue, because I know from my experiences, I've tried to combat it and it wears me out even more. Fighting against something is, I kind of given up fighting against things, and I now manage alongside them. So managing alongside them is a lot easier. You can plan to manage alongside things. You can, you know, you can't predict when things are going to, say, flare up, but you can certainly have things in place to ensure that when they do, you're ready for them and you can manage them appropriately and keep them, you know, as manageable as possible. So the way that I do things, I keep hydrated. So I drink a fair amount of water. I'm drinking pretty much all day. I stay away from things like coffee, which has got a lot of caffeine in, so that dehydrates. Generally, caffeine is not the best of things for you, so stay away from that. Healthy eating. I know we all have slip-ups. I know it's easy just to go, I'll just do this in the microwave or what have you. Unfortunately, I'm in one of those positions where I really struggle with cooking and you know, preparing foods and things like that. My wife does the shopping, but she does as much as possible to make my life as easy as it can be, which is absolutely amazing. So it's the trade-off, convenience, you know, versus, you know, health. What do you go with? Obviously, health is the sensible option, but sometimes convenience, I try and stay as healthy as possible, basically. You know, stay away from McDonald's, you know, as a, you know, or fast food places like that have got, you know, like, I would imagine there's a lot of salt in a lot of their foods, which is, again, will dehydrate you. It's not ideal. Just stay healthy with your eating. I know it's easy to say, this is all theoretical. Try and be as, you know, as healthy as possible. The next one, exercise. And for me, exercise is really, really important every day. I don't do any sort of physical sort of running around or anything like that. I can't do that anymore, unfortunately. But I do stretches and kind of yoga poses that were shown to me by the NHS when I first got diagnosed with AS. And they're essentially just to keep your spine and joints and whatnot flexible, and keep them moving basically. So exercise as much as possible, don't overdo it. It's all about making sure you do enough but not more than you should. Try and regulate your sleep is the next one. Now that's really difficult. I really struggle with this at the moment because I'm fatigued. I cannot stop sleeping. That's the long and short of it. It's partially because of other stuff that I've got going on physically as well, but I can sleep anything up to like 7 hours in the day, whether it be in 2 bursts or and then I sleep through the night as well. I get the occasional wake up with pain here and there, especially during a flare-up. But it's really important to try and regulate your sleep as much as possible, to try and get into a routine. And that's another way to help combat it. Know what your triggers are, know what your stresses are that set off fatigue, and try and avoid them. It's as simple as that. I know there's some things in this world, we live in a stressful world, everything's moving at 1,000 miles an hour, but if you see something maybe coming up, try and keep away from it, try and avoid it. Maybe have a kind of from a de-stressing point of view, have a happy place that you go to. Have if you've got a hobby or something that you do to kind of help you get into a different zone or whatever, kind of carry on with that, and go into your basically happy place and away from the world, which kind of leads to taking time out. It's important to schedule time out for yourself, whether it's a day in the week or an hour in the day or 2 hours in the day or whatever it is to suit your needs. Relax, basically. I'm sure there's important things that need to get done, but try and be as relaxed about them as possible. If you take time out and then come back to something afterwards, it doesn't look as scary if it's stressful when you first look at it. And yeah, taking time out and look at something with fresh eyes after you've relaxed is probably a good bit of advice. So that's kind of my, view on fatigue. I hope this has been helpful. It's kind of like I guess a theoretical guide. I mean, I struggle with a lot of being able to do this and what I've been speaking about, but I try as hard as I possibly can to follow it, which is always useful. It's always going to be something that helps me in the long run, and that's what's important. So yeah, hopefully this has been helpful for you. If you're interested in some of the other videos I've done, take a look at those. I'm going to be doing loads more videos on this sort of thing to, kind of, I'm not here to educate anybody or anything like that. I'm not a medical expert, but I'm here to help spread the word of, these sorts of things, make people aware of how these things can impact your life. And hopefully, someone may be not having fatigue, but they know someone who does, So they might watch this and go, oh, actually, yeah, I know somebody that's got, that suffers from fatigue, and now I understand what they might be going through. So, I might approach, dealing with them in a slightly different way, or something like that. So I hope it's been helpful for people with fatigue and people who know people with fatigue. That's what I'm getting at. But yeah, if you're interested in more videos, there'll be more coming up. So, please subscribe to my channel. And I will see you at the next video. Thanks. Bye.